So this time around, before we start the video, I just want to apologize for the format itself, because usually we do record in a traditional kind of like 16:9 format. But this time around, I just hit play on my OBS because I was not really sure if this is something that I'm going to share or not. I just kind of wanted to have fun and explore different shapes here. So welcome back, everyone. I'm Mario, and in this video we're going to explore kind of like different designs and basically kind of like concepting with SubD. So like mentioned in this video, I would like to showcase my workflow on some kind of concepts or in kind of like concepting in general. Because a lot of questions from previous videos come from cleanliness and kind of clean topology, because on this channel we do focus a lot on creating clean topology, and always there's kind of like this methodical approach that as we go, that we always think ahead and that we're just preparing topology for everything kind of like that it comes later. So in this video, you're going to see something a bit different, where basically I'm not really so much careful about topology itself. The only thing I'm interested here is the general design, the general approach, just creating these shapes as quickly as possible and progressing through the shapes as quickly as possible. So this is still a concept, so that means that topology itself is a bit dirtier than usual, and there are still some areas I'm going to show you later that are still open. There's a lot of intersections and whatnot. So again, the goal here was just for me to have fun. It was not meant as something that it's production ready or anything like that. It was just to have some fun and to get kind of like cool results very quickly, and then if necessary those results can be later easily refined, adjusted, or kind of like polished further, or design itself can be readjusted and whatnot. So just a few notes here. So before we begin, I'm going to talk about blockout a bit, refinement and detailing. So in the blockout stage, you're going to see that I started very loose. So usually also in blockout stage I would use booleans if necessary. Basically any type of approach that will just get me to kind of like that initial state quicker, so that I have some kind of like ground or foundation to build everything else on. So the blockout is going to be very important, because in the blockout stage you get all the proportions, you get kind of like all the kind of like general direction in sense on let's say how wide you want to have something, which parts kind of like break that flatness, what goes outside, let's say, of the form, what goes inside of the form, and so on. And then once the blockout is set, so regardless using booleans or let's say more or less topology, it doesn't really matter. After that comes more like refinement stage. You kind of like start to clean up these forms a bit more, just make sure that topology is a bit more stable for the detailing, because again, if the topology is very messy for the detailing stage, you're going to notice that you're going to struggle a lot finding those right positions for the detailing. So even though that I'm not super worried about having clean topology, which I'm going to show you, it's still going to be relevant to some sense that I have enough space for the detailing. And then again, the detailing itself, I wanted to keep it very loose. So again, it's something that it's not over the top, because again, this is, like I mentioned, more like a fun afternoon project, really nothing too complex, even though that you can lose yourself a lot into details, micro details and whatnot. So it really depends on the purpose. So in this case, something that is going to be shown from relatively, let's say, this distance, detailing could be a bit more improved, but for now I just wanted to leave it as it is. So again, just to summarize, so blockout, it really doesn't matter which approach we take here. Booleans, everything really works, doesn't really matter. Even if you have, let's say, some kind of CAD blockout, you can still import it here and then work from there. And topology, again, it really doesn't matter that much. So you're going to see that it is pretty dirty, because again, the only thing that I want to prioritize here is the design itself. So design, the reference wise, so design was mainly kind of like inspired from Jack King Queen 3, I believe, hand cannon from Destiny. I like the proportions, so I just thought, okay, so let me try to do something kind of like similar to that and explore that forms. So yeah, basically that is all. So one thing I do want to show you here is some of the parts that are, like I mentioned before, topology wise not as clean. So that you can see here, for example, this part right here, we have a lot of kind of like n-gons here, a lot of unresolved areas. So the only thing you're going to see later in the video, I resolved this part right here simply because I did get small pinching, and I just want to get rid of that pinching as much as I can. You're gonna notice also, even I didn't care that much about support loops in some areas because I just again wanted to push that design out as much as I could. And then if I'm worried too much about topology in this case, the thing is then the design is that kind of like secondary thing. When you always closed in and when you always zoomed in and the thing about is topology clean, then you always working kind of like this view, everything is super close. And then when you zoom out, then you see maybe the design it's kind of like lost on the expense of that topology. So initially when concepting with SubD, I usually always prefer the design first and then cleaning up the topology later. Because for example, if this is now something that's going to be reused later, I don't have a problem with, if necessary, even recreating this from start, because I kind of already know all the steps that I need to take here. So it should be relatively straightforward process. But in terms of topology, you're going to see a lot of things that it's not even connected. So for example, right here, and usually I don't connect these type of things in the middle simply because if necessary. So for example, if I decide that I would like to have kind of like cut in the middle, I can easily detach this and just remove it. I don't need to worry about cutting this in half too. So only, let's say later when the design is done, then I would connect these two together. Then I would, let's say, create the middle loop, and then I have a proper part there. So that's kind of like also one thing. Second thing is you're gonna see a lot of pieces are not even connected. So there's no opening for this piece, for example. It's just like pushed inside. And again, it's about saving that time because I don't really see this part. And again, since it's just a concept, I don't really need to go in and out create kind of like all these special openings here because it's not currently the purpose. If it would be, let's say, pure production model, then of course I would resolve all of that. But for now, just again for kind of like I mentioned, afternoon project, something to have fun, it's just not relevant. And same thing here. It's more like indication of functionality more than anything else. So again, you have a lot of pieces here that intersect, and here too. So these two parts also are not connected properly. And again, visually, it doesn't really matter that much. So that's kind of thing. And the same thing here also, not connected on the inside because it's going to be lost in the shadows, so it's not going to be shown. Also, another thing what I like to do is let's say that I like to play with the materials. So what I would do, even in this stage, I would just detach this and apply a different material to this. So let's say apply, I don't know, new material, and then you're gonna see that it just affects that area. So I don't need to, let's say, create a different panel loop or something like that. So again, since this is very loose concept, it's just something that I have, let's say, quick designs. It doesn't really matter. So the only thing that matters is how it looks visually. Also, you're gonna notice later what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a copy of this part right here and then hide that part, because I kind of had this idea of adding this kind of like this random kind of cloth around, and then this one, since it's gonna have this kind of like negative space, I just want to use the one without the negative space so that I can easily retrace everything around it. So that's kind of it. And I believe that this is mainly all the points that I wanted to mention here regarding this piece. And yeah, so now I'm gonna just let the footage roll because you're gonna, like I mentioned, all the content that so far we had on this channel is very topology specific, and always to see in the comments talking about the cleaning of topology. And usually I mentioned that, yeah, my day-to-day workflow is usually more like in these terms, that I would model very quick and very dirty to just get those results out kind of like fast and quick. And then, for example, if there's a necessity for it to clean it up or to create a really clean model, then either I would know, let's say from the start, that this is something that I would like to have, let's say, clean later, or I would just create it like this and then clean it up later if there's need for that. But usually kind of like my day-to-day workflow is going to be something along these lines. So that's why, like I said, in this case I just wanted to press play and see what it happens, and if this is something actually that I want to share. So footage around the footage itself, it's around, I think, 35 minutes, 40 minutes. I think in total, I know that many of you are going to be interested. I think it was like maybe 3.5 hours. And then I just kind of like cut out some various pieces, some exploration that maybe was not necessary to bring it out to maybe like 35 minutes. It's 3 times the speed, so feel free to use the video, this YouTube control settings if you want to slow down or see something even, but you're going to see that there's a lot of repetitive actions or repetitive details. So, but yeah, in the end, thank you for watching, and I hope the video helps or give you some better idea of the workflow in the end. So yeah, thanks again, and see you next time.
You couldn't be honest. You couldn't be honest. You couldn't be honest. You couldn't be honest. You couldn't be. You couldn't be honest. All I wanted was a little bit. All I wanted was a little bit. You couldn't be honest. All I wanted was a little bit. Just a little bit of honesty. You couldn't be honest. All I wanted was a little bit. All I wanted was a little bit. You couldn't be honest. All I wanted was a little bit. Just a little bit of honesty. You couldn't be honest. You couldn't be honest. You couldn't be honest. You couldn't be honest. You couldn't be. You couldn't be honest. You couldn't be honest. You couldn't be honest. You couldn't be honest. You couldn't be. Me. Thank